Good day, class. So this is our module 3, equilibrium of force systems. So let us define. So equilibrium is the term used to designate the condition where the resultant of a force system is equal to 0. So kapag mayroon tayong force system, nasa equilibrium siya kapag yung resultant ng ating force system is equal to 0. So a body is to be in equilibrium when it is at rest or is moving along a straight line path with constant velocity. So nasa equilibrium daw yung isang bagay or isang body, isang rigid body, kapag ito ay naka-rest or it is moving along a straight line with constant velocity. Equilibriant, a force which is equal in magnitude and opposite to the direction of the resultant. So, meron tayong equations of equilibrium. When a body is in equilibrium, the resultant of all forces acting on it is 0. Thus, the resultant force R and the resultant couple or yung moment are both 0. And we have the equilibrium equations. Summation of forces is equal to 0 and summation of moment is equal to 0. Okay? If we have the following 6 scalar equations along x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Ganon din sa ating moment along x, along y, and along z. So, lahat yan is equal to 0. Lahat ng kanyang summation. So, summation of all forces along x will be equal to 0. And so on sa lahat ng ating axis. Okay? So, if all the force summations are 0, the resultant cannot be a single force but may be a couple. So the possibility of the resultant being a couple is eliminated if all the moment summations are also 0. Okay? So we have the free body diagram. So ginagamit natin yung FBD para mas madali nating ma-solve yung ating mga problems. So you just read it sa ating module. So we have the modeling the action of forces in two-dimensional analysis. So from the left column, meron tayong type of contact and force origin, and dito sa ating right column, meron tayong reaction on the body to be isolated. Okay? So ito yung FBD natin. So first is we have the flexible cable, belt, chain, or rope. So, sabi niya dito sa action on body to be isolated, force exerted by a flexible cable is always a tension away from the body in the direction of the cable. So, if you have a rigid body and may nakakabit siyang cable, belt, chain, or rope, so always na yung ina-exert ng cable is tension. Okay? And we have the smooth surfaces. So, kung makikita nyo, circle siya. So, smooth surface. Contact force is compressive and is normal to the surface. So, meron lang tayong, yung contact force niya is normal to the surface. Okay? And we have a rough surface. So, itong smooth surface, smooth siya. Ibig sabihin, isang point lang yung kanyang contact force. So, yung contact force niya will be normal to the surface. Okay? And rough surfaces, we have the rough surfaces are capable of supporting a tangential component F, frictional force, as well as normal component N of the resultant contact force R. So kapag rough surface, hindi lang iisa yung point of contact niya. So pwede tayong magkaroon ng frictional force F and force N, which is normal, and we have the R or resultant ng ating force ng friction at yung normal force. So next we have the roller support. So a roller or rocker or ball support transmits a compressive force normal to the supporting surface. Okay, and we have a free sliding guide. So same din. Collar or slider free to move along smooth guides can support force normal to the guide only. Okay? So, isa lang yung force na ina-exert natin sa both roller and dun sa free sliding guide. Always normal force. So, isang force lang. Okay? Next, we have the pin connection. So, a freely hinged pin connection is capable of supporting a force in any direction in the plane normal to the pin axis. We may either show two pin not free to turn components Rx and Ry or a magnitude R and direction theta. A pin not free to turn also supports a moment. Okay? So if you have a pin connection, so pwede siyang mag-rotate dito pero hindi siya pwedeng mag-move dito from right side to the or dito, down, hindi siya pwedeng mag-move. So meron siyang dalawang force na nag-act, that will be Rx and Ry. So kapag pin connection, meron siyang vertical and horizontal force. So magkakaroon tayo ng resultant force which is yung R. So kapag yung pin naman is hindi siya pwedeng mag-turn, so meron tayong moment or couple M. Okay? Next is fixed support. So kapag fixed support, yung body natin is naka-embed siya. Okay? Like ito. Or itong naka-welding siya or pwedeng naka-embed siya, nakapasok sa loob. Naka-fix siya. So kaya tinawag na fixed support or built-in. It is embedded dun sa ating structure. So a built-in or fixed support is capable of supporting an actual force F. So force F and a transverse force V, yung ating vertical or shear force, and a couple M bending moment to prevent rotation. So kapag fixed support, nape-prevent niyang mag-rotate yung ating rigid body. So ibig sabihin meron siyang moment or a couple. So next we have the sample free body diagram. So first is we have a plain truss. So ito yung itsura ng ating free body diagram. So pin connection and roller connection. So for A is pin connection, kaya yung force natin will be 2. Meron tayong vertical and horizontal force. And dito sa ating support na B, we have only vertical kasi roller support siya. Okay. And we have the cantilever beam. So, yung sa support at A natin is fixed support siya. So, yung ating force na nag-act will be vertical or yung shear force, and yung normal force or yung F or horizontal force. And we have a couple or bending moment M. And yung weight ng B, that will be mass times the gravitational pull. So, let us proceed na sa ating problem solving regarding equilibrium. So, first example is a 300 pounds box is held at rest on a smooth incline by a force P, making an angle theta with the incline as shown. If theta is equal to 45 degrees, determine the value of P. Okay? So, we have a box na nakapatong sa ating incline. So, yung degree natin, incline natin is 30 degrees. So, let us determine the value of P kung yung theta natin is 45 degrees. And given din yung weight ng ating box which is 300 pounds. So, first is gagawin natin yung free body diagram niya para ma-solve natin, makita natin yung mga force na nag-act dun sa ating box and dun sa ating inclined. So, yung magiging free body diagram natin, so magiging ganito siya. Okay? So, yung weight ng ating box is 300 pounds. So, yung weight, ibig sabihin, downward, always downward yung ating direction ng ating force kapag weight ang ating pinag-uusapan. Okay? So, yung contact din ng ating box at saka yung incline is magpuproduce siya ng normal force. Okay? So, perpendicular siya sa ating incline kasi yung contact area ng ating box at yung incline, yung force na ma-produce niyan yung contact ng box at saka incline, will be a normal force or perpendicular siya sa ating incline. Okay? So, let us now determine the value of P. So, gagamitin natin yung equations ng ating equilibrium. So, summation of forces will be equal to 0. So, summation of forces of x along x is equal to 0. So, going to the right side is always positive, okay? So, force P, that will be P. So, we have a angle 45 degrees. So, naka-contact siya dito sa ating about x-axis. So, that will be cosine 45 minus, so 300 pounds downward kaya minus, so that will be 300, and we have the angle 30 degrees. So yung x natin, yung force ng x natin is pa ganito, so opposite niya is yung 30 degrees, so that will be sine 30 degrees is equal to 0. Okay, and yung px din natin is pa ganito. Okay, so kung 45 degrees yan, bali ito 45 degrees din. Okay, so that will be, solving for P will be equal to 212.13 pounds. Okay, so madali lang. So meron pa tayong ibang alternative na method in solving P. So kapag meron tayong force system na tatlo, P, yung weight, and we have the normal force, we can use the triangle method, or yung triangle force, or yung tinatawag nating force triangle or Lami's theorem. Okay? So pwede tayong gumawa ng triangle gamit yung ating mga forces. So example, we have the downward force, or yung weight natin na 300 pounds. So that will be weight natin 300 pounds. And i-connect natin yung point na to dun sa ating normal force. So upward siya. So we can use that. We can make a triangle. Okay? So ito yung force, normal force natin. And we have the force P. So we have the force P. So this we have by P. So yung angle natin dito sa ating 300 pounds and yung sa ating normal force will be, so if kapag diniretso natin tong normal force, so dito rin yung kanyang line of action. So yung angle niya will be same 30 degrees din. Okay? And ano yung magiging angle natin dito? So sabi natin kanina, yung 45 degrees to, 45 degrees din. Yun. So yung magiging angle nito will be all 45 degrees din. Okay. So using yung sine law, masosolve natin yung value ng ating P. Okay? So sabi natin P over yung opposite niya, sine 30 degrees is equal to 300 pounds. Opposite niya will be sine 45 degrees. So solving for P, that will be P is equal to, same din yung lalabas dyan, 212.13 pounds. Okay? So next example tayo. In the figure, if P is known to be 160 pounds, determine the values of angle A and angle theta that maintain equilibrium. So given is P. So given yung P natin, which is 160 pounds. So meron tayong pulley dito na may nakabitin siya, which is yung weight niya is 200 pounds. Okay? So we have a 200 pounds. So gagawa tayo ng kanyang free body diagram. Okay? So, meron tayong weight dito, 300 pounds. And we have the force P. And we have the angle theta. And meron din tayong force dito. And we have the angle alpha. Okay. So, kung 200 pounds yon, ito will be 200 pounds then. Okay. Meron din tayong tension dito na 200 pounds. So, bakit hindi na natin siya sinolve? Di na tayo nag-solve dito kung ilan yung force dito. So, class, remember, kapag pulley ito, ibig sabihin, kung ilan yung force dito, kahit anumang direction siya, kung ilan yung force dito, 200 pounds, this will be also 200 pounds. Okay? So, ito, magiging 200 pounds din siya. So, let's solve yung angle alpha and yung angle theta natin. So, sabi natin kayo na meron tayong 3 forces nag-act. Concurrent forces sila. So, pwede natin gamitin yung ating triangle method or yung force triangle natin. Okay? So, gawa tayo ng ating triangle. So, ito yung 300 natin. Downward. And meron tayong force na 200 upward dito sa ating left. So, this will be 200. And we have the force P. Extend lang natin yan. We have the force P. And yung angle natin dito will be angle alpha. And dito naman sa kabila will be angle theta. Okay? So, masosolve natin yung value ng theta and alpha using yung ating cosine law. Tama ba? Yung cosine law natin, di ba, is equal to c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine, kung ano yung opposite nito, which is c. Okay? So, if we have angle theta, makukuha din natin yung angle theta natin. Okay? Ano yung opposite niya will be 200. So, 200 squared is equal to yung magkabilang side niya, which is yung 300 squared plus, and yung kabila, P. Yung P natin is 200 pounds. Ay, 160 pounds. No? So, yung P natin is 160 pounds. So, masasolve natin. So, 160 squared minus 2 times 300 times 160 cosine. So, ano yung angle ng opposite ng 200? That will be theta. Okay? So, solving for theta, that will be equal to 38.05 degrees. Okay? And masosolve din natin yung ating angle alpha or yung angle A natin using yung ating cosine law ulit. Okay? So, ano yung opposite niya? Opposite ng ating angle A, that will be P. So, 160 squared is equal to, so yung both sides niya, that will be 300 squared plus 200 squared minus 2 times 300 times 200 cosine alpha. Okay? So, that will be, solving for A will be equal to 29.54 degrees. Okay? So, ito yung magiging sagot natin. So, next example tayo. Cords are looped around a small spacer separating two cylinders, each weighing 400 pounds, and pass as shown in the figure over frictionless pulleys to weights of 200 pounds. and 600 pounds. Determine the angle theta and the normal reaction N between the cylinders and the smooth surface inclined up to the right at 15 degrees with the horizontal. So, ito yung magiging figure natin. Meron tayong chords. So, ito yung mga chords natin na nakaloop siya sa isang small spacer ng cylinder. So, we have two cylinders, each weighing 200 pounds. And meron tayong mga frictionless pulley. And given yung ating mga weight, which is 200 pounds and 600 pounds. So, ngayon, let us determine kung ano yung angle theta and yung normal reaction between cylinders and yung ating inclined surface. So, first, i-determine natin kung ano yung mga force na nag-a-act sa ating body. So, first is yung ating normal force between sa ating cylinder and yung ating smooth surface. So, yung normal force natin will be perpendicular sa ating inclined. Yung contact area ng ating cylinder and yung ating surface. So, dapat ganito siya. This will be our normal force. So, perpendicular siya sa ating inclined surface. And we have the yung tension ng ating cord, yung force na kinikreate ng ating cords. So remember class, this is a frictionless pulley. So kung ano yung force, 600 pounds ito, this is 600 pounds, so this will be also 600 pounds. Okay, so yung always tension yung ating kapag cord, always tension yung ating force, so palayo siya sa ating figure. So this will be 200 pounds. So same din, kung 200 pounds yon, remember, frictionless pulley ito, so this will be always 200 pounds din. Okay, and this is also 600 pounds. Okay. And then yung weight natin, so we have the cylinder, yung magiging total weight natin will be 800 pounds kasi sabi niya dito, separating two cylinders each weighing 400 pounds. Okay, so total 800 pounds. So yung magiging direction natin kapag weight ang pinag-uusapan, always na downward vertically yung ating direction ng ating force. Okay, so that will be 800 downward. Okay, okay, and then ito yung magiging line of action ng normal force natin dun din sa sentro ng ating cylinder. Okay, so para mas clear, makuha natin yung FBD natin. So ganito yung magiging itsura niya. Okay, so we have a weight na 800 pounds and 200 pounds going to the left and 600 pounds sa ating kabilang cord, and we have the normal force acting upward. Okay, so sabi niya, determine required angle theta and the normal reaction N. So sabi natin, equilibrium. So dapat all the summation of forces along x and y axis will be equal to 0. So yung x and y axis natin will be dapat parallel sa ating inclined. Okay, and yung y-axis perpendicular sa ating inclined. So let us proceed sa ating solution. So sabi natin, summation of forces along x-axis is equal to 0. So going to the right is positive. Okay, so first, along x-axis, so we have a 600 pounds, so that will be 600 pounds. So we have theta minus 15 degrees. So bakit naging theta minus 15 degrees yan? So if yung incline natin is 15 degrees, and kung titingnan nyo, yung theta natin dito is yung chord mula doon sa ating horizontal. Okay, so kapag 15 degrees ito, so kapag nagguhit tayo ng parallel through through dito sa ating cylinder. So ito is 15 degrees din. Okay? So same siya dito, 15 degrees din. So therefore, itong theta natin will be itong natitirang angle natin will be theta minus 15 degrees. Ayan, so itong natitirang angle will be theta minus 15 degrees. Okay? So 600 ano yung gagamitin natin dito? Sine, cosine. So along x yung ating angle, and sabi natin kapag along x, so magiging cosine theta minus 15 degrees. Okay? Theta minus 15 degrees. Okay? Minus yung 200 pounds natin, that will be minus 200. So ito magiging 15 degrees din ito. Okay? So yung angle dito will be 15 degrees din. Kasi naka horizontal siya, and yung ating x-axis is parallel dun sa ating inclined surface. So magiging 15 degrees din yung ating angle dito. So that will be cosine 15 degrees minus, so meron pa yung ating 800 pounds. Okay, so that will be yung direction ng ating force dito sa ating 800 pounds will be for the x component. So pag ganito siya, okay, may components pababa, ganon. So x component, that will be 800 minus 800. So yung angle natin dito will be 15 degrees din. Okay? So 15 degrees dito yung angle natin. Yung angle natin will be about dun sa y-axis. So about y-axis, tapos x component yung hinahanap natin. So that will be, yung x component is opposite siya dun sa ating angle. So magiging sine 15 degrees yung ating gagamitin. So sine 15 degrees, that will be equal to 0. Okay. So masosolve na natin yung value ng ating theta. So we can use shift solve here. So theta will be equal to 63.16 degrees. Okay. So that will be our answer. Next, ano naman yung value ng force N natin? So yung value ng force N natin is along y axis. Therefore, we can use yung summation of forces. Summation of forces along y axis is equal to 0. So upward is positive. Okay? So first, yung normal force natin, that will be N minus, so downward nung ating 800 pounds. So that will be yung y component ng ating cylinder. So that will be 800. So kung sine yung ginamit natin dun kanina, so that will be cosine naman yung gagamitin natin dito. So cosine 15 degrees. May plus, so upward yung ating 600 pounds and 200 pounds. So that will be plus. So 600 pounds yung y component niya, 600. So sine yung ating gagamitin. So that will be sine theta minus 15 degrees. So yung theta natin is 63.16 minus 15 degrees. Okay? So 63.16 minus 15 degrees plus yung sa 200 pounds naman, that will be 200 sine 15 degrees is equal to 0. Therefore, computing for the normal force N, so N will be equal to 273.97 pounds. Okay, so this will be our answer.